slipping in the street. You can't even trust everybody that you know. Oh, fucking around with bitches on the green. Don't know who set you up, man, and I ain't with that. Oh, you looking cool, it's got me really asking how dumb is you. That you don't ever wanna see what's right in front of you. You gotta back off when they start trying to front on you. You gave too many people access where you comfortable. You feel a lot of wild man, baby, I'm the one that move. You couldn't pick the room, can't see they fuck with you. Now you all caught in the mix, yeah. Where people know you, but you don't know them. And now you just got in some shit. They creeping on you and you in your crib, and now you just lost in the mist. Where demons are moving, straight no end, where it's getting hot as a bitch. Should've been keeping it cool, now you in the wind. Tell me where you would've been, seeing shit through a new lens. The only thing that you was worried about everyone seeing you in the bands, you and your friends. Don't get caught walking through the valley. Yeah, don't get caught walking through the alley. Yeah, don't get caught talking to a baddie. Yeah, bitches, they be dropping niggas alley. Get sidetracked for facto. You know. Yeah, get sidetracked for facto. Shit gets spooky, shit gets scary. Bitches get horny, niggas start dying. Participating, you will see that it never fails. Put your ass back on a boat, you're the adversary. Live my life so light like I got a feather tail. Not a snitch, it's some shit, guys that don't have a tail, yeah. Hot in the middle of a war, nearly lost your dome. Not who's there, I don't think nobody home, yeah. You like the rum, blah, but listen, nigga, you are not in Rome. Get caught in the wrong place, near pot and gold. Now you just follow the middle, yeah. Between all the shit that people don't want, and you haven't gotten the middle. To be in the whip and give you a dub, and you haven't got you a pistol to keep you equipped and fear run up. So you haven't gotten the memo. Should've been reading the script when we in the slum. Wasn't eating the nuts, yeah. Only just keep it a buck, yeah. If you was ever in the industry, the brick ain't gon' be in the bud. Evil as fuck, yeah. Don't gotta lie, know you ashamed. That's what you get for thinking you the shit and you don't know the terrain. You should be knowing one thing. Don't get caught walking through the valley. Yeah. Don't get caught walking through the alley. Yeah. Don't get caught talking to a baddie. Yeah. Bitches, they be dropping niggas alley. Get sidetracked for facto. You know. Yeah. Get sidetracked for facto. And shit gets spooky, shit gets scary. Bitches get horny, niggas start dying.
That. Now we're gonna get into some energies. Birth, replace that with beginning. A fall, replace that with some unstable energy or some qualities or whatever the case may be. F, you was unproductive. F, you had a degenerate mind. F, you had unstable decision quality making skills and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? All these gonna pinpoint, pardon me, all these gonna pinpoint and line together to see if you was balanced in life or if you was like on a head-on collision or playing tug of war with you and something that you was dealing with in your own mind. Because it don't just always be externally. It's always inside first. We don't give that enough credit. That's why external, like we always reach forks in the road. We always reach mistakes. We always reach oops. I said oops inside my head. You know what I'm saying? Who let the dogs out? You know what I'm saying? Some energy like that. Woof, woof, whatever that. Who let the dogs out? Woof, whatever that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, there's going to be a lot of energies that, you know, you might look back and be like, that's a mistake. I'm wise now. Or that's a mistake. I'm trapped now. Either way. It's going to start off emotionally first. Before it get expressed in, maybe I might talk about it. Maybe she might talk about it. Maybe he might talk about it. Maybe your granddaddy might talk about it. Your mommy might talk about it. Your auntie might talk. A lot of people may talk about, hey, the sun in Gemini. But it's going in Aldeberan tomorrow. So for the most part, Aldeberan, whatever the case, just a word we slapped on it, put a meaning on it, but it's a space. An atmosphere. It's a space. Keyword, a space that we see forms through. You a space. Sometimes I see SeaWorld looking forms. Sometimes I see Sci-Fi Channel looking forms. Walt Disney got a very creative team, the drawers and stuff like that. Sometimes they drew something that was just like you or whatever the case may be. I seen the Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella. I'm just keeping it 100 too. Oh, say like real stuff, but like, look, it's just the space. Space represents the spirit. It's the form. The lighter aspect represents the mind. Then it condenses and becomes the physical. That represents the physical. You know what I'm saying? No matter impactful, the heaviness, the velocity, the volume, the mass, the task, the present. We got this present. Your body is a present. The ground is a present. Everything is a present right now. So you go too far in the future, you're trying to emanate something in the present that you haven't experienced yet. You're going to calculate a lot of that context from things you already experienced. The past. So you got the past, the water, the emotion, you got the future, the vision, the fire, the feeling, and you got the present. You ain't about to be neither of those. You wasn't what you thought you was in the past, and you ain't about to be what you imagined in the future. You still just degenerate right now in the present. You still about slow retarded. Oh, is that over that? I played the Farger video game they used to have for Atari. My older brothers had the Atari and stuff like that. America video games suck. Get over that. We always got to run a Japan Man. Why we always got to run a Japan Man? We got to run a Japan Man for the PlayStation. We got to run a Japan Man. All this stuff, as soon as you get to the American consoles, it's phony. No, it's phony. You got enough buttons. I said something wrong with it or something like that. It was all a scam. It was like, hey, let's create something that mimicked the Super Nintendo or something like that, or Atari. You know what I'm saying? You pay about $300 more to the Super Nintendo. You don't even remember no Atari. No, I don't remember no Atari. Let's get better over here on this soil. Let's get more creative. Get out of mind games, more creative. Don't have to play no mind games. The creativity itself, play all the mind video games that need to be. The creativity of have somebody lost in the lore, no matter who created the lore. Because it's just the creativity first. So whoever created the lore, we don't want them to be. But they could damn near be a pervert or something like that. They got a unique lore or whatever. Like they created a story. I seen Star Wars. I seen Steven Spielberg books. I see. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? Give people credit where it's due, no matter what's going on behind closed doors or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? We don't know everything. We just know people creative. I'm just giving people the starting point of what humans actually respond to. Somehow y'all fail to realize that, and we done got so less on a percentage scale of what creativity is supposed to be in today's time. I don't even know if we know what that is. I think we could just make an AI machine that'd be like, hey, just think right now. Think. I'm creative. You got a creative process and machine. Now you get to direct that towards your music or what white collar, blue collar business over there. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what y'all think. Y'all get ready to do and think that's what's creative. Hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? Creativity have to be, God give you the God's strength to carve out a piece of gold, sharpen it up, and be like, look, this edge, you ain't never seen an edge like this. You probably in the physical world went over the ledge or went to an edge other people probably were scared of when it comes to where you're directing your energy towards. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like, look, nobody's seen something this shiny. Whatever you was doing got way more attention than everybody else because what they was talking about didn't make sense. It wasn't as sync, wasn't relatable, and when they expressed it with their actions, didn't play out through nothing creative. You know what I'm saying? Led everybody to jail. But then for the most part, boom, you'd be like, look, this unsustainable, it's non-tarnished. And then for the most part, boom, you probably did something that everybody can remember. They can't like picture nobody else doing it but you or whatever the case may be. You got the piece of gold. You got a piece of gold. You know what I'm saying? Real thing. You don't know how to look at it. That's how you look at the shininess. The shininess on the side of the gold. You know what I'm saying? And then for the most part, you got to carve it up, shave it up, and that's how you built yourself up. You got that internal light, and that internal light get expressed, and this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it. Some of y'all scared to do that, though. Some of y'all don't know how to jump in that space. Then when you don't got it, you become an extreme hater. Then once you become an extreme hater, you can't get out of no other energies but that you become like an intelligent hater. You know all the sufficient ways to walk somebody's eardrums to sleep, convince somebody else why they just shouldn't like this person or something like you'll be in some kind of retarded energy. You know what I'm saying? Degenerate. And that's when you know we're going to talk about you because the sun is goddamn in Gemini right now. Deer season. We're going to talk a whole lot about you. Say talk a whole lot about just mutable air, being able to adapt to your own and other people's ways of thinking and communicating. So that's us being able to sit back, separate ourselves, put ourselves in somebody else's Hermes shoes, put ourselves in somebody else's boots. You know what I'm saying? So we think real fast and stuff like that. A lot of y'all slow thinkers, you might jump on a fast train right now and go in and have decision making qualities that really wasn't suit for you and things like that. So you got to be careful too. You know what I'm saying? Be careful because if you and that goes for other, I don't want to name no specific signs because, sometimes it play out and it varies. It just depends on what your spirit is inside your mind, chakras, whatever words you want to use, express it through your body. I don't want to start saying, well, there's certain side. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, at the same time, I just want everybody to know everybody got equilibrium, everybody got the chance to be retarded, and everybody got the chance to be intelligent a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Pardon me. But before we even get into the balance, you need to understand that the moon is in Scorpio. So as we're reacting and responding, that's fixed water, being fixated on our own way of dealing with the emotions and feelings. So even if you're acting on that energy or not, you're probably around other individuals and they probably got certain emotions that they're not expressing. Try not to be that type of individual that kind of want to sit there and think you a mind reader, want to sit there and think, oh, this person moved their left elbow on this attribute, so this means this. And I was watching Uriel channel and this means, don't do that. Don't do that no time. Any planet is in Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? Or Aries. Aries and see that's what you into and be like, all right, let me do the opposite. Or let me play to it to see how far this go until I decide to either show they butt or show some energies that they supposed to come up with in their own mind and be like, wait, something ain't right. And if they don't know how to do that, they go to hell. And let God use my hand to make them go to hell. You know what I'm saying? But this Scorpio do it too. You know what I'm saying? Scorpio sometimes just sit there and shoot, you know what I'm saying, then completely express a whole nother energy and you think everything all good or whatever the case was. They got their eye on, they got their eye on that character you thought they're not paying attention to because of how they showed themselves and move their right wrist. You know what I'm saying? Move their left ankle cap and stuff like that. They moved it a certain way to make you think, oh, they ain't paying attention to me. They ain't paying attention to my lie. They ain't paying attention to my, you know what I'm saying? You be thinking, oh, Scorpio be sitting there. Yeah, let me keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? Make sure I get all of the lie. That's how the Aries is. So I need all of the lie. Not just the piece. Let me not show this to make you think I caught on in this area, but pretty dumb and I don't know everything. No, let me just go ahead and show this to see all the lie. I need all of it. Jolly read your back. Oh, don't put on that. Now, Scorpio just might do it for different reasons. They just might do it like try to play on the same energies or whatever. Aries is trying to do it to separate or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or do the full context of just making a person realize, yeah, I already knew what was going on. I didn't care about it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care to make the effort to convince you that I was retarded, to convince you that you may be lying and not telling you. I just didn't have the effort for that. Scorpios had the effort for that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they got the effort because they get it's a water sign, so they get emotionally affected. Aries get emotionally affected too, but it play out different. It's separation. So I want to be in my own emotion. I don't need you to know if I'm affected or not, because if it's gonna go that far, you need to be affected. You know what I'm saying? If it's gonna go that, other than that, I'm dealing with it. Under the Scorpio, I'll be like, wait a minute, somebody actually affected me that way or whatever, or I can't wait till the moment I can affect them. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Aries will just stop it and be like, all right, look, I don't want to play this game no more. You go any further, all the effect is coming on you. You know, you go, that's it. Scorpios be like, nah, wait, but I still need to, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they be tweaking stuff and end up right in jail. Sometimes they be tweaking stuff and end up right in the halfway house. They tweaking stuff and end up right in the hospital. Sometimes during these times. And anytime the moon is in Scorpio, y'all need to know it play out like a full moon anyway. And we get ready to experience the full moon in Sage. But at the same time, new moon, full moon energies, anytime the moon is in Taurus or the moon is in Scorpio, because those substantiated places in the sky, when we rotate to the left and we see that position, we're seeing a different phase, a different face, just like the sun. It make more sense when we're rotating to the left or whatever. We see a different face, you know what I'm saying? Different side, and that different side create the attributes. So we're developing as spring, summer, fall, and winter, or whatever the case may be. So we got phases, however the case may be, based upon angles, not something flying through the sky and we still can't describe what make it stay in orbit or whatever. That's a retarded starting point concept. You know what I'm saying? Retarded starting point concept. I don't even make sense of stuff. So you going to hell if you made $1 million thinking about it that way. You know what I'm saying? Rules to anybody, because that ain't got nothing to do with reality. You made a lot of other people think that way, where you should have just left people to think to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had access in their own eyeballs to themselves. So you get into any circumstance where you done made trillions and millions of dollars off some stuff you didn't clearly know. You know what I'm saying? You going to hell. Because only people like that could make up stupid narratives and stuff about how intelligent people like me can't debunk it. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody going like, we ain't had no language or anything of that nature. Everybody come to the same conclusions or whatever. A lot of y'all got retarded conclusions because of what you lost in. And that's where a lot of retarded conclusions come. And that goes for a lot of y'all relationships. It ain't just dealing with this kind of stuff. It goes for y'all relationships. It goes for how y'all deal with y'all networking abilities. It goes with how y'all come up with decision-making qualities before y'all get into y'all business or y'all goals or however the case may be. And then y'all be on the wrong pretense. And this is where a lot of your heartbreaks come from. Like heartbreaks that ain't got nothing to do with this person not caring the way you want them to care. Like heartbreaks, like you got goals or you set up certain excitements in your mind. Certain letdowns come from that and stuff like that. Like those energies. And people don't be knowing that. It be minor things that we be grounding things on that we get distracted by the bigger thing that is on because of what it leads to. And then for the most part, we'll reach one of these destinations carrying a whole bunch of baggage and damage from the thing we're not taking care of that we just attached to because it leads to that. And when we don't be clearing that part up, we be reaching point A's to point B's, traumatized out. Point A's to point B's, baggaged out. You know, you got a whole goddamn JC Penney, you know what I'm saying, Kohl's worth of bags. You know what I'm saying? The Chanel store, whatever, you got all kind of bags, broke spiritually. Because you carrying too many goddamn spiritual baggages and stuff like that. Your spirit feel heavy. You barely can walk. You know what I'm saying? So you barely can get up. AKA, you probably moving around doing things 24/7, trying to stay distracted because you can't be to yourself because you know you're going to fall all the way down. So it's like everything play out differently in the spiritual world, but it'd be the same in the physical world, just inverted. Like inverted. So you got to understand what comes from the inverted spiritual world play out external, but you don't think it's that way. You play out in reverse. So it just make you turn it inverted. Turn everything personal. Separate everything from an instinct and something relatable or whatever the case may be. So when you become so personalized or whatever, especially if you're a part of a cult or whatever, y'all just become negative individuals and stuff, not knowing that you're in a position of not being able to help yourself and others. You're just in a position of harming yourself and others. And you can have the same tools of what we all consider as a social norm as helpful. It ain't helpful coming from you. You know what I'm saying? When it comes from spiritual people, you got to be positive or negative, and we ain't talking about good or bad. We're talking about if you're in sync and relatable, that means you're on the right side of the universe. You're doing things in order. If you're out of sync, unrelatable, then for the most part, you're doing things out of order. So it can appear, you can mimic and appear to look like you're doing something in sync and relatable, but I better need gas. I better need charged up or something like that. I bet you need time to regroup. I bet you gotta hide something. I bet you gotta cloak something. I bet you can't be that and be that in the light. You know what I'm saying? All that is just made up stuff that monkeys don't come up with. Like that's like an energy. Like if you're in the hood and you got a small dick and you gotta come up with other compensations in your mind and stuff like that. You become Donatello of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, I know how to push enter on a computer, spacebar, enter key faster than everybody in the hood. Stay there, everybody ain't important. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people give it more importance to whatever your mama and daddy was doing. You know what I'm saying? For you to even be here. So a lot of times we be having a thing. You know what I'm saying? You could be a double-edged sword. Ain't nothing wrong with being a double-edged sword. Ain't nothing wrong with being nothing that. You know what I'm saying? You can go ahead and make this side sharp, make that side sharp. You good to go. A lot of people don't want to do that, though, because they might be so much on one percentage scale of a side, they develop a hate for another side or something. And that could be, I'm on a ladder scale of what I'm teaching right now. So you could take that, whatever piece of stepping stone of the ladder that you're on, based upon your background, and be able to, you know what I'm saying, place that there. But, you know, that's when it becomes into real prayer, when we're praying on energies that our spirits may be trapped in, and you need to get out of it, because these energies are animals. You know what I'm saying? Internal animals that externally come out and become the actual. And the same way we make mosquitoes, we made the animals and things of that nature. So as we're creating these processes, they're leading us internally too. And in the external world, these be the first things that we see. So for the most part, when you start to understand this as an aspect, these are spaces that you're already in before you actually understand the characteristics. And a lot of times people don't understand that. Ooh, I know the point too. But y'all get the point. We're going to get to the astrology. Like I said, with the moon being in goddamn Scorpio, we're reacting and responding to fixed water, being fixated and being on our own emotions and our feelings. So a lot of times that you might be around people that's expressive, they may not necessarily be expressing the thing that you're familiar with when it comes with them expressing. You know what I'm saying? So try not to take everything at face value during this particular time, because you will catch a rude awakening once the moon go into Sagittarius and we are experiencing a full moon. So that full moon represents like the owl, represent a situation where you kind of can separate yourself from whatever that you're in and see it from a distance. You know what I'm saying? You're able to see it from like an owl's or a hawk point of view, or see it what was in the dark eighth house, but be able to have nocturnal vision, be able to see what you wasn't able to see previously because you probably was lost in a form of light, and that light will be forms of distraction, right? So when you think about everything that you'll be visualizing and everything that you probably think a person is or what you think a person do or whatever the case, you wasn't paying attention to this side of things. You may have not been paying attention to that side of things. So once the sun, or not the sun, but the moon go into the ninth house, that makes us react and respond. So we're going to be able to react and respond to that side of things, aka the meaning and reasoning behind. That's what Sagittarius represent, the meaning and reasoning. You need to know a why. You need to know the meaning. You need to know the reasoning. I'm a Sag moon. Without knowing my emotion, when it comes to my emotional state, if there's not a meaning or reasoning to actually caring about whatever I'm invested into, I'm going to feel like that's a cage. 9 times out of 10, it'll be other individuals trying to make me pay attention to something or express something or whatever the case may be. So it could even be something that I'm good at. If I'm put on the spot and it's not a time that I feel comfortable expressing it, I will feel like that's a cage or whatever. I will feel smothered. So I would do something to escape that emotion or whatever the case. So it play out as expand, escape, or expound. So when we think about the moon being in Sagittarius, that's what all of us is going to be doing, and it's going to be the full moon. So anything that's been accumulating all the way to the time now that you haven't been sweeping, the things you've been sweeping up under the rug that you haven't been cleaning, the skeletons that been in the closet that you haven't been taking out on trash day or whatever the case may be, these are things that's going to come back up. And when people come into your esoteric household, they're going to actually smell your spoiled milk. So, and that's going to be like, because everybody's supposed to clean up spoiled milk after a while. That's like leaving something spoiled, leaving a situation unresolved, or when there's no closure to a certain degree. Now, everything don't need closure, especially if things was predicated on degenerate purposes. But at the same time, pardon me, these be those energies that we're going to express as the moon going to Sagittarius, because the sun is in Gemini. So we want to express the information that we're receiving. But for the most part, Sagittarius want us to learn by experience. Sometimes that don't always take talking or sitting or trying to go out and learn the information. Sometimes it take going through something. Sometimes it take seeing what something appear to be. Sometimes it take the vision of something. Sometimes it take what's being expressed at the moment. Those are the light forms. It bends in before it turns into an emotion. Light and feelings, then emotions. You know what I'm saying? That's when it turned into water. But light waters is basically fire. You know what I'm saying? Before it condense. So it's seeing these things or skiing on these things. So mutable fire. Being mutable, being able to adapt to one's own or others' ways of seeing and feeling about things. So people are going to be judgmental during this particular time and comparing and contrasting it to their morality. So if you in a situation where, let's say you've been going through a situation and something proved you wrong, it been things that you calculated in your mind that led you up to your age and now that you thought, hey, if I do this, this means successful things happen. If I don't do this, this means bad things happen. There's going to be a situation where you see others and it may be someone doing the thing that's completely against your morality, right? And then it may have to put you to the test because they may be doing something you want to do, But you've been sitting here comparing and contrasting. If I don't do this, then this means I could be successful. And if I do this thing, this means I could go further in this aspect of life. You're going to get ready to see somebody do something completely opposite, something you have considered negative, yet still be in a position that you want to be in. And that's going to be a form of you either expanding your ideology on what you are experiencing, or you feeling like you in a trap and start to be hard on yourself and self-doubt and create extreme self-delusions and things of that nature, because that's what Jupiter creates with Sagittarius, along with Pisces, but we're experiencing the Sagittarius right now. So you might experience some extreme self-doubt about yourself or something outside of you when it comes to a person, place, or thing that represent expression or that represent something you like to visualize or whatever. It has to be something you care about, though. So pay attention to that. And don't let these things overtake you. But there'll only be two routes. You can expand and be like, all right, I need to broaden my awareness or broaden my morality. And these actions that I've been doing, have nothing to do with the situation I'm in or whatever, because I just seen this A, B, and C circumstance or filter through this person, place, or thing. And try not to go down the negative end or whatever, where you start to say, well, I'm wrong and I wasted time and I didn't know what I was doing. And that's going to lead into second, minute, hour, day, you know what I'm saying, month, and before you know it, you're going to look back. And that's why I tell everybody keep a dream and a regular journal, right? Because for the most part, you'll be able to weigh out your percentage scale of how much you're adding energy, adding time, your thought, emotions, and actions. That's energy, especially when it comes to your thoughts and feelings. And some of y'all added way more on a percentage scale of some bull crap. You know what I'm saying? It'd be 10 minutes here in this pocket, hour here in that pocket, that day, 3 hours or whatever. And that all add up. All that add up on your esoteric pay stub when it comes into your esoteric currency. All that adds up or whatever. And it's let you know if you're going to be spiritually broke when it's a situation that you really need to experience fullness and expression and openness and full enjoyment. And then there's going to be other situations that you go through to realize what to close yourself off future wise, that may be situations that's similar. So you don't end up looking like you a person that just constantly make mistakes, or you a person that don't know no better. And you're going to have people around you that start to make up things in their own mind like, yeah, this person a little slow or whatever. Then once they get the idea, they start taking advantage over you. Now you got one person, two people, three people. And the first people that be doing it be people that's close to you, especially if you're in a position that, because a lot of times if you're gullible, you're able to like, get wrapped in the social norms and Walt Disney and kind of do things more productive because you're not in a position of trying to take shortcuts like the average individual that just try to get they 1-2 together, but they understand this world we in and the game we playing is bullshit. So a lot of times when you don't be in a position of, or either raised if you're sheltered, of seeing it as bullshit and you're just seeing it as life, a lot of times you go fully forward in it, but then that make you completely book smart. So then when you do reach certain situations and things of that nature, when it comes to other individuals that got a little common sense, that's what I call street smarts, and then they're in the field that you're in a little bit, then it's like life hits you in a way that it don't hit nobody else. And a lot of these people sometimes be around kitchen knives and looking at their wrists a little bit too long or whatever. A lot of these people be the first to crash out, that other people can sit back from a distance and be like, well, if I was in that position, I would do this. If I was in that position, I would do that, or however the case. But for the most part, a lot of these people ain't seeing it from that mind frame. They might not have went through a lot of situations where they know that they may not have something. So how to deal with the emotion of not having it, or when something do come, the extremity of appreciating it, but then if that's too high on a percentage scale, how sometimes it could create another letdown that you rather not have that excitement, because that letdown emotion is even more of a detriment, more of a reaction of hurt or whatever. So sometimes keeping your cool, not allowing people to see you sweat, or not really expressing your true emotions or your thought forms of things is kind of like a safe space or whatever, especially if you're from the hood or whatever. But at the same time, these are all things we need to learn spiritually of what we're dealing with before these things become seeds that build up. And when our spiritual back against the wall, it blow up at the wrong place, wrong time, and catered towards the wrong individuals and things of that nature. Then we always in that spirit of, oh, I wasn't myself. And then we got to apologize because you really wasn't. Your spirit was in another space, wrapped up in a cloak of another form that you added percentage energy to it, and you accumulated it from other spirits that added to it. And a lot of times, more the percentage scale be from what other spirits have created, from their ideas. The small percentage that you added was more people pleasing, more thinking that maybe I need to get down, maybe I should act this way of this persuasion, this person get this much attention, so maybe I should do this in that way, and you carving yourself out. And then a lot of times all that play out as something you carrying around in your esoteric backpack. Then when you get your spiritual back get put against the wall, aka you get put in a situation where a lot of these deep, in-depth internal energies have to be expressed externally. If you're not a spiritual, in sync, relatable individual, you're not going to know how to connect the dots, connect the two and two. So it's going to come out chaotic. It's going to come out all over the place. It's going to come out screwless. It's going to come out unstable. You know what I'm saying? It may come out aggressive. It may come off of where you express one thing to make a person feel like you want them to leave you alone and don't bother you, where you just really felt internally you being vulnerable. That cloth was being taken off because they knew where you got that esoteric coat from. So they described the tag on it specifically. They're like, yeah, you got that from Indonesia. You got that from China. Say you got that from Italy. They started, yeah, you got to wash it 100% cotton. You got to wash it in warm water. They start describing the cloth you was wearing, like real in the detail and stuff. Like, you're like, oh, no, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you're shitting out the mouth, like how that person with the disease off Deuce Bigelow. You know what I'm saying? So you just start doing that or whatever. That person probably was a Gemini moon, Aries sun, or Gemini sun, Aries moon, you know, so something like that, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, once a person got too close or whatever the case, you was like, you had to act fast. And once you back into our stages when we be creating our first body, the mind, you have to do things on your own volition without no example. But once you are already comfortable, it play out as uncomfortability when you get placed into a new situation that's unfamiliar. When things was first unfamiliar, you had no choice. But once you got comfortable in a mind and a body and an organ and things of that nature, then for the most part, when you get placed in the spirit world to have to create the first mind to play out through the body that you already created, for how we make bodies in the first place, that adrenaline always be the most pumped up though. So you get reminded like, oh, this is how I'm making organs. Know what I'm saying? That's why if I'm getting chased by the cops, I can do a cartwheel over the like 12 feet fence or whatever the case may be. Or I can lift a car or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everybody think that way, but sometimes people do it. But at the same time, you're getting put back in that space like, oh, okay, it's something to this. And if you're spiritually connected, you know how to dive into that train of thought and line of reason and reach places like me and stuff like that, God's children. But and be able to each one teach one, because I'm not teaching you anything. I'm only reminding you what you already know. You know what I'm saying? You experience these things too. You just don't know how to justify it to be able to get back into that space. Then you put it into an esoteric back seat. Don't give it no credence. It's no longer important. Then whatever Walt Disney taught us and the distractions become more important in your life again. And then for the most part, you're living based upon reaction, not expressing, then developing the reaction based upon what have already been expressed, the way that you're back in order, the way you should be back in order, how everybody should look at it. You see what I'm saying? Because everybody's reactive first, where you're supposed to be expressing. You're always doing it. You're always doing something. You never stop doing something. So that lets you know that's larger on a percentage scale of you emanating. And so the first state is you emanating, and then you just start reacting to what you was emanating to. So whatever you emanated, that's masculine, externalizing, and then you was inside of it simultaneously, internalizing. Start reacting to the thing you just expanded. Start reacting to that expansion based upon you being contracted with inside of it, of your individual space, your spirit. You see what I'm saying? I gotta use the restroom. 1 second, y'all. Yeah. So basically, that even represents Sagittarius, like the energy that we in. So the moon, I mean, not the energy that we in, but the energy that the moon is getting ready to go into. So as the moon go into that space, we're dealing with expansion. So for the most part, here's the thing. You might be like, oh, that's pseudo, or however the case may be, right? All right, look, you need to understand things beyond if your money expanded or not, right? Or what's in front of you, if your knowledge expanded, right? At the beginning of the year, it's spring. If the moon going to be in a position that when you see the sun in that position, we're experiencing fall season, then for the most part, that represents distance. And last time I checked, distance is a quality that's necessary for velocity, volume, and mass. For the most part, velocity, volume, and mass are representations of expansion. So if you don't want to get that deep and try to understand it, or you think I'm just making metaphors and hypotheticals for me to make sense of what I'm talking about, then for the most part, let's just nip it in the butt, right? What was here first, a human or the sun and the moon? And if you want to have that argument, I don't think I want to talk to retards or whatever the case may be, because I've seen a lot of people come and go. So that'd be larger on a percentage scale of people being here describing the sun and the moon coming and going, dying and being born again. So for the most part, then you're going to have to check yourself or whatever. So you might just get lost or whatever. No, you can see animals, bugs, and people dying, or whatever the case may be. But no person in history wrote a book. And nobody in the future gonna write a book about saying the sun disappeared. You know what I'm saying? Unless they was a colonist, and we can't prove nothing the colonist was talking about until they make the technology for it. Thank God they make the technology to block out the sun yet. Thank God. Good movies though, good television shows like Angel, you know what I'm saying? The Angel with Angelus and them, and Spike and Buffy, that one, the other company, the other band, but good shows, man, good shows. The camera, special effects, that one. Please don't start practicing that one in real life. Please, don't learn that. Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on my soul. But yeah, like I said though, the sun being in Aldeberan. So when we see the sun in that position, right, this is how we're calculating the moon phases also, and then the angles. And then especially when we get into the spaces that we're considering Mercury through Saturn or whatever the case. So it's just based upon rising. So, 6 a.m. in the morning. And then for the most part, as we do a transition throughout the year, the sun, as we start to reach the summertime, the sun is going to reach the morning star, right? So that's going to be the Taurus period, right? So once we reach the Taurus period, then that sun, no matter if we're still talking about the same cycle right now, the position and the angling, once we do observations on this kind of scale, that kind of scale, when we start to talk about the Venus sun, that's when we're dealing with the Venus sun at that time. Part B. Just like right now, we're dealing with the Mercury sun. So let's say we're talking about the Mercury planet, the quote-unquote satellite that NASA putting up there. They're putting it in the space, right? So once it do that orbit or whatever the case may be, during the time of the year, now since it's early in spring right now, that space that the sun traveled through from 6 a.m. to 10 to 12 p.m., 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., right, is only always going to be at that distance. But we're not always going to see it from the same angle because we're rotating to the left. So this is where we get the aspect of during the springtime is going to have a certain aspect of the sun rising until it gets to the summertime, right? Then the sun has a different quota of rising until it gets to the fall time, right? That'll be from 8 a.m. to, you know what I'm saying? And then that's when it start getting late earlier, right? So for the most part, when the sun rises later, so it start getting dark earlier during that time because we're starting to get even. Then that's when it start getting even. And my bad, let me switch it around, right? As it start to lead up, right? Then that's when it start to go back. No, I had it right. So for the most part, that's how we're calculating the position as the sun travel through the Mercury space, the Venus space, the Mars space, the Jupiter space, and the Saturn space on its own accord throughout the year. And the satellite is being thrown there to keep track of that space based upon the sun rising. You know what I'm saying? So every now and then, when we're calculating the leap years and stuff like that, this is really the grounding of what we're calling retrogrades, not necessarily the planet, that satellite that they're calling a planet going backwards or whatever the case may be. It's all about rising. You see what I'm saying? So when you understand the medicine wheel or whatever, then you start to realize you could keep a circle in your backyard, right? And keep things like a sun or something stationary. And you would know we must be rotating to the left if it start to do the same thing like the sun. See what I'm saying? So at some point you'd be like, oh, okay. So it's us moving, not that moving. We moving. You see what I'm saying? And we're seeing things through different angles of observation. And that's how we're calculating. See that? Other than that, Mercury, if it was the other way around, the sun and moon is moving on their own volition. Mercury would have flew somewhere else a long time ago. The sun would have had a history of been doing a retrograde. The moon, see, the sun and moon is the only thing that's real, and that's the only thing can nobody make up something like a retrograde about. You know what I'm saying? Some dumb stuff about. You know what I'm saying? You gotta add common sense first. Well, you got common sense, God will start giving you all this kind of other knowledge and stuff like that. And then you'll be like, oh, okay. So as we're going through expansion right now, the moon is getting ready to be full in expansion. So it's some traits in my life that I have to expand, expound, or escape out of if it's small and got me trapped, because I need to expand. And being in that form, mentally, plan out in esoteric traits physically in my life that may not have me flourish. So for the most part, let me find something internally that I can see as a representation of what I see externally, that I could do my micro version of an external of that macro concept, and let me see if I test the time by being in sync and being in order. And based upon that testimony, that's going to let me know if I'm communicating in other fashions other than a voice with something greater than myself. You know what I'm saying? And other than that, we ain't got to get into words or whatever the other case may be, because that's when people get foolish and people just need to know something because they want to use it on others in some way, shape, or form. And it's a personal thing. You can only use it on yourself. The moment you come up with a concept of thinking you can use it on someone else, you done lost yourself. You done lost track because you already in other people's mind, filtered through what you just got for yourself. And now you just filtered it through a diluted concept. Now it's poison. Now it's toxic. Now it ain't even for you and God. It's for others that you confused in your mind for you. But without others' praise, without others' attention, you wouldn't be you. Without others being attracted to it, you wouldn't be you. You're not in a each one, teach one situation. You're in a take one situation or whatever the case may be. You're trying to take energy. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to create it. You don't take energy. You don't know how to create it. You just know how to mimic it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You just know how to mimic it. But other than that, yeah. But when we talk about expansion, right? That's where the moon is going to be. The moon is going to be in the energy where we see the sun at. So for the most part, we know that experience. We know that brings fall, autumn. But it's the grand fall, grand autumn, because it's the most distance. Anytime we get into the mutable aspects of the seasons, we're getting into the grand finale. We get into the birth, we get into the substantiated, and we get into the grand finale. So that'd be cardinal, fixed, mutable. So anytime we experience those transitions, right, we would call those fixed areas as in space, or the fixed star or whatever. When the sun is in that position, it's fixed when it goes into that pocket, and we don't see nothing else in any part of the year or whatever the case may be. So it's actually a spiritual event too. Anytime we see the sun or the moon going through the fixed positions in space, not the star being fixed, but the spaces being fixed. And the more distant the space from where we're rotating to the left, based upon observation, right, the more slow or the more stale it'll be. So the energy of the present become more potent. You know what I'm saying? That reality become more. This would create the substance of snow, sleet, ice. You see what I'm saying? Where it could just be just fluid, light, fire, water, air, but it condense and become ice, sleet, hail, snow. You see what I'm saying? So this actually what your situations do when you express something. That's a seed, gave birth, gave it life, emotion, reacted. That's water. See what growed from it. See if it was worth it or not. Do it work or not? Was it comfortable or not? That's if the cloth or the fruit was good or not. Fall, harvest, get ready after harvest or whatever. Then, is it something that need to be repeated or something that needs to be separated from and recalibrated so you could get back in order with some form of discipline, because now that was a representation of being unstable and undisciplined. You know what I'm saying? Then for the most part, that gets into earth quality, foundation, wintertime, or whatever. So that's the seed, or that's the foundation, or that's the actual building, or that's the actual shelter. And you know if you in something that's uncomfortable or not. And earth signs don't like to be in uncomfortability. They don't like to be in something that's unfamiliar. They don't like to be in something that doesn't have a foundation, something that doesn't make sense, basically, or whatever the case may be. So if you got the sun, moon, or ascendant in Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, these are qualities that make you feel uncomfortable. Anytime you're around other individuals that seem unstable, too much don't make sense about something, don't even look like they express with their right elbow, like they're getting ready to analyze with their brain, or whatever the case may be. You're going to start feeling like this person going to leave you out of something. You're going to start feeling like you're going to start feeling unsafe and unsecure with this person when it comes to whatever emotion you gave them, whatever action or helping hand you gave them, whatever support you gave them. You're going to start feeling like this person is showing me representations of me not getting that back. And a Capricorn and Virgo and a Capricorn, Virgo, and a Taurus will be up out of there once they see that. And here's the thing: they probably didn't even express that's what they wanted from you, unless they was around you from a long time. This is what they already calculating. Everybody emotional, they just keep that emotion and practicalize it. You see what I'm saying? Internally. So a lot of times you wouldn't even know you hurt a Taurus, Virgo, or a Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn feelings, unless you attacking something that everybody already know about, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times, if you just poking them, you won't know what's annoying them, right? Unless you keep doing it, then you gonna know that they was paying attention. They'll show you that they wasn't paying attention because they want to see, is you poking because maybe you retarded? Is you poking because maybe you got some self-issue with yourself and your upbringing, and maybe that you're just choosing the Taurus, Virgo, or the Capricorn at the moment? These are things they think about. They'd be like, yeah, I could bear this. This person a little bit more emotional than me, or I could deal with my emotions a little better than them. You know what I'm saying? Or is this person is poking because I don't got nothing else to think of, but is they jealous, or nothing else to think of, but because they in a funky situation, or whatever the case may be, or whatever. Then once they get to that point, then they're gonna bring up everything they've been paying attention to, what led you to think they wasn't, for you to be going that far in the first place, or however the case may be. You know what I'm saying? You got to come across a real damaged Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn for them to show you their whole hand. Either you was really helping them in a way that nobody else in their life was helping them, so they already was dealing with unstable stuff with people that they was close to, and you came in their life, or you the close one that helped them faster than the other close ones, or whatever. If you ain't in their pocket like that they can make sense about it like that, because those situations, they will make sense about that in their mind, and you're the only kind of individual they will open up to anyway, until you abuse that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That'd be the only time though. Other than that, they peep these things. They don't like it, make them feel vulnerable. And it make them feel like they ain't did something right. You know what I'm saying? They get extra hard on themselves. And sometimes they got to be around a fire or water sign. So we get like, or fire sign, if I can let them know. You wouldn't have known that. You know what I'm saying? It's stuff we don't know, man. We always gonna make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So the only issue is you overanalyzing it. You over practicalizing it. You trying to make over sense about it. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I deal with a lot of people that it ain't gonna be a foggy, icicle day in hell of me ever being able to make sense out of why they did what they did. You know what I'm saying? Just got to live with that. You know what I'm saying? You gonna waste your time, all the good movies, going out to eat, you could be enjoying and every kind of thing, trying to think about what made sense out of what made this person do that. You know what I'm telling you, you don't want to do that. You be just too hard. You know what I'm saying? And y'all earth signs got to learn that sometimes. Sometimes you got to be good with just knowing that made completely no sense. That person's degenerate. No, a lot of times I'll be like, nah, this didn't make no sense. It gotta be some sense behind it. It gotta be some method behind it. 10 years past that on your mind and stuff. You ain't did nothing you were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes don't get in that funk, my earth sign. Sometimes y'all get in that funk. Y'all get in that funk, my Virgos, Tauruses, and Capricorns. Get out of that. And it could be stuff you actually doing is good. But you'll look back and you know you could have did so much more. You know you were supposed to add way more percentage to that. You know you're supposed to add way more energy to that. You know you're supposed to go way harder than that. It was things that you wanted to wait for, be patient for, or do this more for that reason, or that, you know what I'm saying, life got to start kicking you in the ass and be like, no, just stay with you in. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them. You know, sometimes life got to make y'all do that. I said, buck them. You too, I said, buck them. You know what I'm saying? Every night, you know, just the Buckeye State. You know what I'm saying? Ohio, Buckeye State. But yeah, that's for my earth signs out there. You know what I'm saying? Spirit just told me to tell y'all that. Sometimes I got to relax and be like, look, ain't no sense out of that. And anytime I want to use my face card to not make sense, my family friend or associate or coworker or that damn bastard I was dealing with better let me. You know what I'm saying? Start thinking about it like that. That'll make y'all feel so much better because you ain't got to be so hard to be the esoteric parent for your family friend and associate, a.k.a. the esoteric designated driver, and ain't nobody drunk. Is this you always got to be the adult in the situation. You always got to think, yeah, this person ain't gonna know how to act, so I got to make sure I act like this and act like this, so everything to be safe and cool. But that's like pressure. Like, you know what I'm saying? You get old real fast in the face. You know what I'm saying? Goddamn Arab start asking you for your ID. You just turned goddamn 22. Like, what you know what I'm saying? Like, damn. Like, you know what I'm saying? Real dumb. Real stuff. Like, you like, man, wait a minute. Like, what I'm saying? I paid for my ID already, man. I'm just turned 22, man. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? If I just turned 16. Your favorite rapper, Lil Pump, Kodak Black, or something like that, Lil Uzi Vert, or something like that. You just turned 16. You get ready to go to college. You're like, A-Rap, man. Talk about this. See your ID. Oh, let's see your ID. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on and stuff like that? You know, just thinking too much. You know what I'm saying? Thought processes and stuff like that so you can be okay and stuff. So that's a deep game. It's a deep game out here. Y'all just need to understand that. But yeah, like I said, as the sun going to Aldeberan, that's going to be visualization of what we actually see in spring. If you're spiritual, go outside. Go do. And here's the thing. Like a lot of times when you be in a lot of energies that you're more caring about what you think other people think, you around a whole bunch of people that put so much pressure on their mind. Also, this is why you end up at these same locations, the same stores, restaurant, drive-throughs and stuff. The same time as people who put too much peer pressure on their own mind and stuff like that. So none of y'all actually feel free. And you need to know this is what everybody is in search for. How to lessen the percentage scale of a mental trap. A lot of times people be so weak, they think just because this the vibe that they get from everybody else is something that they got to uphold and not want to participate and be weird. But that's how you actually especially for y'all want to do semen retention and gravitate attention or whatever the case may be. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is express some type of freedom, some form of freedom. You actually do what every spirit want to do. Now, it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. Some spirits want to be free on the basis of degeneracy. You know what I'm saying? So they don't need to be free in the mind or physically. They need to go deal with their insecurities before they project that on others and want everybody to be in some feeling that they in first. If they got something presentable to bring to the table, something in sync and relatable for all people, all ethnic groups, all races and things of that nature, we good to go. The moment a person just talk about free, as soon as they use that word free, and if it's on the basis of something degenerate, nobody wants your demonic ass goddamn throat chakras in the air, cloud particles in the air and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Like it get deep, and God getting rid of a lot of that stuff. God getting rid of a lot of that stuff right now. God don't need nobody thinking real hard and transmuting stuff, inverting it into some stuff they ain't even about. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't got time for all that. You know, nobody, I ain't got time for that. God's children ain't got time for that. The star people ain't got time for that. You know, the damn sure your next door neighbor ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? We see that right now. Real shit. Nobody got time for that right now. This is like I said. Right now we in expansion. So any form or instability that you are in, or whatever the case may be, look at what you need to expand, expound, or escape out of, especially when it comes into mannerisms, right? Here's the thing. There's certain things that y'all be wanting to change in y'all life. And look, I guarantee it got something to do with the seed. And the seed is small as a mustard seed. And when we start to look at it esoterically, these are seeds, are characteristics that start to condense and become mannerisms and things of that nature. A lot of y'all organ problems start from the stimuli, right? The tension span that bends in and become the stimuli in the organ, or whatever the case may be. Some stuff be as simple as changing a mannerism. Some stuff be as I swear, your kidney, your lung. Sometimes here's the thing. Let me make it simple for y'all. Some of y'all have developed a lot of baggage based upon certain experiences. We're gonna use alcohol for an example. Some of y'all got friends, right, that may not have went through the same emotional letdowns, right? 5, 10 years pass, they're still your friend. You find yourself in a situation of not being able to handle as much alcohol as y'all used to when y'all was in college, or just in general, you find yourself not being able to handle as much as your friend or whatever. You can see them drink, may get drunk, sleep, but get up the next day and don't develop the health problems you have started to develop and things of that nature. They may have been in a situation where it just so happened when they was in their household, when y'all not together, they wasn't developing on a large percentage scale as much as you, reacting and responding to the negative traumas of things or whatever the case may be. Everybody got these. That's why everything's based on percentage scale. You over exaggerated, largened up the percentage scale. This is what's turning into fleshly fluids. It goes into the areas that you made that organ with that fleshly fluid and that blood. Then once you got stale versions of these things made it from a non-well-oiled running machine spiritual space now. How you made it when you was making it originally or whatever the case may be, right? Now it start to play out that way. So the same things you're doing with your friend, you're more fatigued. You're more wore out now. You're more debilitized now. Or you're more of a detriment position at this moment. Now you got to start giving it up or start separating. But a lot of times it's because your friend is in a better mannerism state of being. Their being spirit is in a better state of awarenesses. Different liquid solids and gases before it become neurons and physical liquid gases and stuff like that. How we make that essence in the first place. They're not in yours. So it didn't condense and become the fleshly fluid to interact and play out through the organs the way it did with yours. Now, eventually, physically, they still got to slow down a little bit once age, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm just giving results of what we all experience for all age groups and stuff like that once you're an adult. You know what I'm saying? And drink at age. But at the same time, I'm just giving that as an example to let people know that sometimes it's just a mannerism. Sometimes it's just a thought process. And here's the thing. Just like the time it takes to condense and become fleshly fluids and organs, you have to give these things time. And a lot of times it be in your mind and you know it's the right thing to think, but since it don't play out as fast as social norms of Walt Disney taught us, it's something that's supposed to play fast and you get paid, you got to be 2 weeks in a hole once you get a job or whatever the case may be. That for the most part, you end up letting that thought go. You end up letting that motivation go. You end up letting that actual hope go. You end up letting that actual concept, and then for the most part, you will start to see somebody else with it 10 years later or something like that, 5 years, sometimes the next week or whatever, and then you want to jump and compete. At that time, it'd be too late. You know what I'm saying? God gave it to someone else or whatever. Now, here's the thing. There's synthetic concepts of these things in the world. You got concepts of these things of what they call it destiny swapping or whatever. That one don't make sense. That one has to be, once you start seeing something promoted too much or whatever the case may be, you need to understand, pardon me, don't nobody care about that concept of it anyway. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. Thank God we got online right now to show people the larger percentage of the world. Especially if you're in America, New Worldia right now. Once upon a time, y'all was just on TV. So you thought the TV and the fake claps on these comedy shows and stuff was people actually laughing. A lot of times these jokes was corny. Some ain't as lit as you think it is. It ain't that many records that was sold the way they said it was on these propaganda lists. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But now you're starting to realize, like, wait a minute, yeah, some ain't right. You know what I'm saying? It was when I watched 106 in Park on VH1 and stuff. And then when I went to my next door neighbor and up the street and stuff like that, nobody gave a fuck. They went upside my head and I joined the gang. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? You grew up to realize, oh, rappers ain't, they not damn motivating nobody. They trying to impress the gang. They trying to impress the homies. You know? They trying to impress the block. And then life started hitting you. Then you start to get into business, white collar, blue collar. Oh, this all a scam. You know what I'm saying? You trying to get into this. Then you have to you like a big letdown. You're like, all my life I tried to do everything right. Then the homegirl became your favorite cliche saying, all my life I had to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, all my life I tried to do, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do right. Just to see I was getting hit upside my head with an esoteric knife. It don't go no bars. It don't go no further than that. So yeah, we an hour in. God damn. Yeah, so we get prepared. So yeah, all right. So tomorrow I'm gonna go fully in on each individual zodiac sign for the Patreon and go fully in on the full moon to let you know what to do so you can know how to move. Right now, this is just to get prepared. You know, spiritual knowledge for the hood or whatever the case may be. Let everybody know what to be aware of or whatever. React or respond to some form of expanding, expounding, or escaping. Expanding means, you know, trying to make something bigger, larger. Hopefully it ain't degenerate stuff. Hopefully it's your goals or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Expounding means holding on to something or being within something that's a little bit longer, without being aware of if it's big or small. You know, just I need to learn about this a little bit longer. Escaping. You know, time to get out of that cocoon and fly like a butterfly, whatever the case may be. Because if you stay in it, it's just going to be regret, resentment, you know, throwing that on other people, victim shaming or whatever. And it's your fault or whatever that you ain't expand your morality or however the case. Here's the thing, to create some balance and awareness, some balance and fairness within it, whatever, so it don't be a head-on collision or a tug-of-war match, right? These things may have to be filtered through a person, place, or thing, circumstance, or a situation, or an action you take that's filtered through mutable air. Receiving some information, maybe communicating with your thoughts, so you can know this thought that you just jumped into to communicate with this other thought. Now you get in Joaquin Boaz, Polis, Castor, Gemini energy. Which way did I go? I don't know. Where's Waldo? But for the most part, boom. Now you jump in this one, start looking at that one and be like, wait a minute. I think I'm trapped. Let me expand. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, you stop thinking all that degenerate bullshit. And we're going to go deep into that tomorrow. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the mind of an Antares Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel. And I'm in the care of God duties and responsibilities and goddamn duties and obligations and all these things that matter. ERACTASSWA, HAԵL'HO, YAHLAHUÈ. Massasoit, Mama Toy. Woo. Masasaki. Makatawa Mini Hoki.